welcome to Leaders Having Lunch, the show where we talk with leaders and their leadership journey. And today, we get the chance to speak with Chief Executive Officer of Northwest Specialty Hospital, Rick Rasmussen. How are you today, Rick?
Doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me today.
Well, and it's my pleasure to have you here. I know you're busy. It's a busy time here at the hospital, and we just want to take a few minutes and talk about your leadership style. You are a longtime leader in this area in Post Falls, Idaho, and talk a little bit about your leadership journey. How did you become the Chief Executive Officer of this hospital?
So I would, say my leadership journey probably started back in high school. So I was involved with student government. I was the student body president at Coeur d'Alene High School back in 1983, 84. So 35 plus years ago.
You just dated yourself.
Yes, for sure. And but no, I was proud to lead that group then, and I really enjoyed it. And so that kind of started it, and then went off to college and went to the University of Montana, and I was involved with some leadership activities there, and so that kind of just started it. And then came back to Coeur d'Alene, where I was, grew up here, when went through school here, and just decided that got involved with a lot of different things, a lot of different organizations, different groups, and went into leadership positions there. Had an opportunity to start here at Northwest as their CFO 7 years ago, and then 2 years into it, the CEO at the time decided he wanted to move to Arizona, and so I threw my hat in the ring and felt I was ready, and felt that I wanted to try to help our community, my community out, and that's how led me to there. And now 5 years later, 5+ years, I'm still in the chair and enjoy what I do at helping every day, helping out people in our community, and love what I'm doing. So it's a big part of what I tell everybody all the time. Everyone works for a paycheck, but if you do something you love to do, something that you work with good people, and something that you feel like you can make a difference, then it's like not going to work at all. I get up on Monday morning. I don't ever dread a day coming in here. I'm looking forward to see how we can help out people in our community. Right. So it's been a great job.
Well, and you've become a leader, and that's the word on the street as well. So that's kudos for you. People that may not know this, but you graduated high school as valedictorian.
I was valedictorian also. Yeah, student body president, valedictorian, and my brother was valedictorian a couple years later.
Really?
And then my daughter was valedictorian back in 2012. So we got a few of them in the family. Yeah,
that's amazing. I didn't know that, and I've known you for a while, and I didn't know that. So now the next generation, it's valedictorian or bust. Is that what
I guess so. Yeah, put a lot of So when I have two brothers, and so I was valedictorian. My second brother is a doctor in Texas, a valedictorian. So the third brother would just always ask for our report cards because he didn't want any teachers we had. So I don't know if he thought we put too much pressure on him. So he would say, "Who do they have? I don't want those same teachers." Yeah, but.
You and I have had many a conversation, and one of the things that you and I agree on is the leader should be the servant leader, is leading those people who don't know they're being led. And I've done some stuff with your staff, and I've come to know you, and the rapport you have with your staff is that of that quiet authority. You let them be amazing and do their job, but they know who you are, and you've got quite a staff. What do you do with your staff to do that servant leader mentality?
I think for me, it goes back to trust. It's one of those things that everyone says, you want to be a CEO, you want to have an open door policy. Well, in reality, nobody wants to stop by and see the CEO. So I get out to them. I round every day, multiple times a day, get out to the staff, get out to my leaders, go to their offices, go to their turf, and just through consistent, the first started doing it and they'd never seen the CEO walking around and they were all jumpy and thought I was trying to catch them. But, they just realized that, hey, he's coming to me. I'm going, and over time, it's something I can't just say, hey, trust me, I got to prove it. And so I've built a great team. I think I've 25 folks in our leadership team, and I think I've had a part of hiring 21 out of the 25. I was just looking at it, and so it's like a football coach going in and taking over a new program, an NFL team. He brings in his assistants, and he gets folks that, for me, I don't want them like-minded. I like debate. I like to have a voice, and so we like to have that variety. So I have different types of leaders. I got some very strong. I got some quiet. I got young, older, experience. So it's a nice mix, and I feel that when they can go to a meeting and they could feel that they could speak up and that they can be trusted and that their opinion's going to be valued, then they're more engaged. So we go in there and we go there where they could feel like, hey, he's going to listen to me.
Sure.
And they're going to understand that when we're doing something, I'm going to have a say. There's every day there's decisions I got to make, and we have to get down to where I ultimately have to make the final decision. But they know that they're going to have an input. And there's a lot of things. I was just working on something a little while ago where I went into the meeting thinking it was going to go one way, and a couple of my leaders brought up ideas, and we laid the pros and the cons, and we talked it through, and we ended up going with their idea. And I'm not that, I feel like I'm a good listener. I tell people I listen. I've coached a lot of things, and so I tell the kids, listen with your eyes and your ears, and I don't bring cell phones into meetings because I want them to give my full attention. I don't want to be on my phone, just like doctors are hired. I don't want them to be on a computer. I want them looking at the patient and listening to what they have to say, and that's why I don't bring phone into meetings. I want to give them my full attention, and so it's, seems to be working so far. We've built a good team. We've grown exponentially. When I first started as CEO, we were seeing about 5,000 patients a year. We're going to be over 75,000 this year. So in a 5 year, we've grown, 15x. We've gone from 140 employees when I started to we just hired our 400th here this week. So we are
so the customer
service and just really trying to grow that out, and it is a team, and that's what I'm really trying to build that family.
Right. Well, what a lot of people may or may not know about you is you are also an athlete.
Yeah.
And
So
your dad.
I played. My dad coached for 35 years at Coeur d'Alene High School.
Yeah.
I played multiple sports. I played football, basketball, track, through the shot put and discus. I went to the University of Montana, football scholarship, played football over there. I did track over there. So then I got into coaching. My wife I won a state football championship. My wife won a state basketball and softball. Our daughters won a softball. So we had a Rasmussen with quite a few,
So your leadership style is that background is a lot of it's athletics, where it's, there's no I in team, that old adage. So is that where your servant leadership management style is rooted from?
I definitely think so. I think the sports background, and then seeing my dad. That's the way he was a coach for many years and a teacher, but just watching that, and definitely a mentor of mine. Both my dad and my mom, and coaches that when I look back and you ask what mentors you have, and definitely my parents, and then coaches that I have. I look back, I had some coaches that really were instrumental in molding me. Some of my first boss at my first job when I came out of college was another gentleman that. I look at leadership style as grabbing things and putting in your backpack. There's some things you like, and you throw it in your backpack and say, hey, I like that. I'd like to try that. There's also things that I don't like, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I take from that too. I think I learned from good and bad leadership.
Yeah.
That I feel was good and bad, is rather than trying to come in and say, I'm going to do everything this person. I need to be my own person, but there's things that I get a little bit from here and a little bit from here and a little bit from this person. Don't want to do that. Don't like that, and so that's kind of how I've molded into a leader.
Yeah. Well, I know you and I have talked about, a leader always hires people that are smarter than them, and I think that, you want to surround yourself with better people and smarter people. And I said before, one of my favorite quotes is, contrary to my wife's opinion, I don't know it all, but I'll surround myself with people who do. And you've definitely done that with your group.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I definitely have, risen and tried to get the best that we can. I call them, get the right people on the bus, get the right, sometimes we switch seats, but I want to get the best and the smartest that we can, and I'm not a panic hire. I want to make sure we get the right person. I don't want to just hire somebody because they have an opening and, holy cow, this work's not being done and this and that, I mean, I'm not clinical background. So, when I was looking for a CNO, our chief nurse, I wanted to make sure that they complimented me, but also had that clinical background.
Right.
And I looked for almost 10 months. And,
wow.
and I reopened
really
the job, and I wanted to take my time because I wasn't going to, they're like, hey, we need a CNO, we need the CNO. But I'm like, I need to find the right person. And it's paid off in spades, and one of those things that not just a panic hire, I just wanted to make sure that we get that right person on the bus and all moving forward. And it definitely has paid dividends doing that.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And that is really what has, in my opinion, has put Northwest Specialty Hospital on the map around here is your leadership styles definitely come through a lot. A leader's always learning. A leader is a sponge. So what are you reading and what do you like to read and how do you stay up to date?
So, for me, right now, and one of the things, and I actually go back to it, is my favorite is from Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Yeah.
Love that. That's where I got to get the right people on the bus and, get the gut level decision making, and just some of the stuff that Jim Collins talked about in there. I know he's written some other stuff, but that one really resonates with me. And as we're going through last year, I called it the year of customer service, and I sent all our employees back through customer service training. I implement, I kick off every orientation. When we didn't have one, and I started one 5 years ago, and I'm the first one. I start off the orientation, so every new employee gets to meet with me, and I do stuff where we go around the room, and what's your favorite breakfast cereal, or what's your favorite concert you've been to? I want to know something, personalize them all, but I want them to see from me that I'm invested in them. And I want them to understand that, we're very pleased to have them here. We're very happy. I implement a 5 and 10 rule that if they're within 5 feet of a patient or their family, I'd like to ask, can I help you? Can I show you where you're going? How are you doing today? I'd like them to talk about them. I don't want them on their phones and head down. And if they're within 10 feet, I'd like a warm smile. I'd like just to be able to make them feel healthcare is scary enough as it is. So if they could feel that and they could say, man, these guys were caring and compassionate. One of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou is, they're not going to remember your title, not going to remember your name, they're not going to remember what department, may not even remember what you look like, but they're going to remember how they were treated. And that's why I do a monthly newsletter, and I put that quote in there every month, so the staff can repeat it, and we get that all the time. We get letters back from patients, and they're saying, I can't remember her name, but the person in the front desk, was just over the top and brought me a warm cookie, and it's just one of those things that, that's where it goes from, because that's what they're going to remember is, how were they were treated. And that's what I'm, trying to instill and every day looking for. And there's folks that haven't fit that mold, and there's folks that, all have different opinions and debating, but if you're not kind and compassionate and wanting to give great customer service, this isn't a place for you. I've gotten rid of a few managers and even a few doctors that I want to make sure that we have that kind, compassionate care.
And that's the culture you've created.
And it's the culture we're creating, and then I got to back it up. And so that's why if they're not, then there's other opportunities for them.
Well, a couple of years ago, you told me your 5-10 rule. And I thought it was so awesome that I have actually shared it. It's part of my repertoire now. So thank you.
Yeah.
I tell people that, the 5-10 rule. And they're like, what's that? And I said, you got to know, Rick. So, and what is one of your favorite leadership quotes?
I would say, the one, I have it at home and I got it here. It's, and I got it from my mom, and she had it hanging up in her classroom, but it's the golden rule. It's do unto others as you'd want done to yourself, and put yourself in their shoes. I want every patient to come, I want our nurses, our front desk, our EVS, our housekeeping, our kitchen staff. I want everybody to put yourself in their shoes and say, how would you like to be treated? And at the end of the day, I want you to be able to look at yourself and say, it may have been the 22nd colonoscopy of the day, but it's that patient's first.
Exactly.
And I want you to feel like it's that first one. And so I want you to think about it. Did you treat them today as you'd want to be treated?
Yeah.
And when it comes back and we look at, where there's issues, that's probably the thing that was broken. There's either poor communication or they didn't treat them. And I go, is that really how you'd want to be treated? And I use that a lot, And when I let go of somebody, my biggest line to them is, your action that forced my reaction. If you would have treated others the way you want to be treated, you're still employed and you're still here.
Yeah.
But I didn't fire you. You got yourself fired.
Yeah.
Your actions forced my reaction.
Yeah.
And so I would say the golden rule is, definitely something that we live about and we breathe it every day. And it's something that it's always out in front of me. And, something I always think about, am I treating this person how I'd want to be treated? And it's something that, and it's sometimes easy to forget, but it's one of those things that, go back to it and, self-reflection, but it's definitely a strong, leadership quote that I like to always remember and keep out in front of me.
Yeah. And it's real evident. It's evident in your staff. It's evident in the position of Northwest Specialty Hospital in our region and you as a leader. Rick, I want to thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I've known you for a couple years. We've had a few conversations, and I do enjoy your leadership style because it parallels mine a little bit. And I like to think of you as a mentor. And I do appreciate you and your time. And I know you're busy, and you take some time to sit here and talk with me and talk leadership. And thank you.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if there's anything revolutionary or any words of wisdom, but sometimes it's just good to hear other people and their philosophies. And like I said, taking those nuggets from pieces of different people. And but at the end of the day, if you treat others how you want to be treated, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, and we'll end with that.
There we go.
Thank you for your time, Rick. I really do appreciate you. And there goes another episode of Leaders Having Lunch. Until next time, remember, leadership begins with the relationship.